Along the journey of entrepreneurship, it's inevitable to need partners for various reasons. However, there are many cases showing that while people can share hardships, they often can't share wealth. Today's story is about a partnership that thrived, but eventually led to a fallout, and a legal battle that lasted for years, exhausting everyone involved. In the end, the situation developed beyond everyone's expectations. When the lawsuit was mentioned, someone said, "I will destroy your entire family." So, what exactly happened back then? Let's go back to 2011 and review the details of the case. Hello. Welcome to the Crime Documentary Files channel. Northampton is located in central England. The town was once famous worldwide for its shoe and leather manufacturing. As a satellite city of London, it has convenient transportation, situated 60 miles south of London and 48 miles north of Birmingham. The cases we are discussing today occurred in Wootton, a suburb of Northampton. On May 1, 2011, at 6 p.m., a Sunday, a Wootton resident named Jason Sholey and his wife decided to check on their neighbors, the Ding family. The Sholeys had been neighbors with the Dings for almost 10 years, and often took care of each other. For example, if the Dings were staying out overnight, they would inform the Sholeys to help keep an eye on their house. However, they hadn't seen the Dings for 3 days. The previous 2 days had been marked by the highly anticipated royal wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton, with community celebrations taking place. The Ding family's 2 daughters usually enjoyed participating in such events, but they hadn't been seen either, which was unusual. As the next day was a work and school day, the Sholeys thought the Dings should have returned by now. Growing more concerned, they decided to investigate. What they discovered turned out to be a shocking crime. The Ding family's house was a 2-story building. The ground floor had a dining room, kitchen, study, and cloakroom, while the upstairs had the bedrooms. The Sholeys rang the doorbell for a long time with no response. Listening closely, they heard nothing inside the house, which was eerily quiet. Feeling uneasy, they remembered that the back door of the Ding's house was usually open. Jason climbed over the backyard fence and went to the back of the house, where he saw that all the windows were tightly covered with curtains, except for the kitchen window. Peeking through the kitchen window, he saw 2 human feet and a dark, paint-like substance on the floor. Alarmed, he shouted to his wife to call the police immediately. When the police arrived and broke into the house, they were met with a foul odor. In the kitchen, they found the bodies of an adult male and an adult female near a radiator. Upstairs, in a bedroom, they found the bodies of 2 young girls, one curled up on a bed, and the other lying on the floor. The scene was horrifying. The investigation revealed that the victims were a British-Chinese family: 47-year-old father, Ding Jifeng, mother, Kui Gei, 18-year-old daughter Ding Xin, and 12-year-old daughter Ding Huan. The parents were originally from Hangzhou, and were university classmates majoring in chemistry. They came to the UK for further studies in the early 1990s, where Ding Jifeng obtained a PhD, and Kui Gei earned a master's degree. Ding Jifeng worked as a senior lecturer in the Chemistry and Environmental Science Department at Manchester Metropolitan University, while Kui Gei had owned several traditional Chinese medicine shops, and was currently a Chinese teacher at a secondary school. Their daughters were talented and charming, with the elder daughter Ding Xin attending a private high school in Northampton, and already accepted into Nottingham University's medical program. The younger daughter was in 7th grade at her mother's school, and like her sister, was an accomplished violinist. There were no signs of forced entry at the Ding family's home, which often indicates either an inside job or the perpetrator being known to the family. Another possibility is that the killer snuck in through the always unlocked back door. No valuable items were missing from the house, ruling out burglary or robbery as motives. However, A rented silver car from the garage was missing along with its keys, suggesting the killer might have driven away in it after the crime. A witness reported seeing an Asian man lingering near the silver car in the Ding family's garage around 4 p.m. on April 29. After that day, both the car and the Ding family disappeared. Further investigation into the family's relationships revealed that Ding Jifeng had a long-standing financial dispute with a man named Du Angxiang, who lived in Coventry, England. On April 28, 2011, Ding Jifeng and his wife had just won a lawsuit in the High Court. On the morning of May 1 at 8 a.m., which was 10 hours before the discovery of the Ding family's bodies, the Northampton police received a call requesting a check on the Ding family. This was because Bao Anshan, the wife of Du Angxiang, reported that her husband had left for work on the morning of April 29 and had not returned home since. A note resembling a suicide letter was later found in his office, leading to concerns that he might seek revenge on the Ding family. The police were asked to investigate. When officers arrived at the Ding residence, they found the front door locked and received no response after knocking, so they left. After examining hundreds of hours of surveillance footage, the police discovered that on April 29 at 10:44 a.m., Du Angxiang left his home in Coventry and went to his office in Birmingham, where he left a note resembling a suicide letter before taking a train to Northampton. At 12:35 p.m., he took a bus to Wootton and appeared near the Ding family's neighborhood an hour later. At 3:32 p.m. that day, Ding Jifeng used his younger daughter Ding Huan's phone to call the police. During the 20-second call, only the terrified screams of two girls could be heard before the call was disconnected. Due to the police not using a more detailed mapping system, the location was inaccurately pinpointed, leading officers to only search a nearby park and find nothing unusual before leaving. The Independent Police Complaints Commission later criticized the police for mishandling the emergency call. If they had used a more detailed mapping system to pinpoint the caller's exact location, even if the Ding family couldn't have been saved, the perpetrator would not have escaped. As a result, the police apologized to the victims' families. The forensic report revealed multiple stab wounds on the bodies of the four family members, with the murder weapon, a 20cm kitchen knife, found in the kitchen sink after being cleaned. Blood, fingerprints and footprints were found in several locations, including walls, stair railings, sinks, and bedrooms. Fingerprints collected from the scene matched those taken from Du Angxiang's home, leading the police to suspect him of the crime. The estimated time of the murders was between 3:30 and 4 p.m. on April 29. Du Angxiang had a long-standing financial dispute with the Ding family. Born in 1958, he and his wife Chen Kan graduated from Hunan University of Traditional Chinese Medicine. They started working at a traditional Chinese medicine shop, owned by a British pharmaceutical company, in the late 1990s. During this time they met Ding Jifeng and his wife Kui Gei, and later partnered to run a traditional Chinese medicine shop. There are two versions of how the two families met. One version says that in March 1999, Kui Gei and her husband opened a traditional Chinese medicine shop in Northampton. To expand their business, they approached Du Angxiang and his wife, who were working as doctors at another shop, and proposed a partnership, offering a 50-50 split of shares and profits. However, due to UK visa regulations, Du Angxiang could only hold 1% of the company's shares, so the families privately agreed to split the profits evenly. This private agreement laid the groundwork for future conflicts. The second version suggests that Du Angxiang, facing visa issues, approached the Dings with a proposal to start a business together, with the shares and profit splits being the same as described. Regardless of how they met, the two families successfully partnered and opened 3 more traditional Chinese medicine shops, due to the booming business. However, disagreements arose over handling cash and tax matters. Du Angxiang suggested not recording thousand washing due to their own losses. The Devendincoms disagreely visit the sharing it would jetly die Du Angxiang Kristan seeing the shop his cash home. This was eventually discovered, escalating tensions further. On July 25, 2001, Kui Gay partnered with a British business associate, Paul Delaney, to start another company. By 2002, the conflict between the two families had become irreconcilable. The Dings stopped paying Du Angxiang his share of the profits, and after obtaining his permanent visa, Du Angxiang opened his own shop, but still held 1% of the original shop's shares. Du Angxiang's friends claimed that the Dings intentionally withheld the shop's accounts, leading Du Angxiang to demand his share. The Dings, however, maintained that they didn't owe him anything. The conflict dragged on for 5 years, until Du Angxiang filed a lawsuit against the Dings for his share of the profits. Fearing the lawsuit, the Dings transferred ownership of their shops. On November 22, 2007, the Northampton County Court ruled in favor of Du Angxiang, ordering the Dings to pay him $30,000 for legal fees and to settle the profit dispute in a separate hearing. Local news reported that Kui Gay transferred the $30,000 to Du Angxiang's account shortly after the court's decision. On May 7, 2008, the court once again heard the financial dispute between the Ding family and the Du family. After several hours of trial, the judge ruled that the Ding family had to pay the Du family $40,000 as profits from their business partnership. To prevent the Ding family from not paying, the Du family's lawyer requested the judge to freeze the Ding family's property in Bhutan, a suburb of Northampton, as a guarantee for the compensation. The judge granted this request on the spot. According to reports, the Ding family owned 2 properties in Northampton. One was purchased in 1994 and had been rented out, and the other was bought in 2001, which was the 2-story house in Wootton, where the Ding family lived before the incident. According to British legal procedures, the judge's ruling had to go through judicial registration to become effective, which usually takes 2 to 3 days. On May 9, 2008, the court's ruling became effective, but the Ding family only stated that they had no money, as they had declared bankruptcy. It was found that the day before the court's ruling became effective, the Ding family sold the house they were living in on a cash-on-delivery basis. Most of the proceeds were used to repay the house loan, and the rest covered recent legal fees and other expenses, leaving no remaining funds. According to British law, once a person declares bankruptcy, their debts are automatically cancelled. Therefore, even though the Du family won the lawsuit, they couldn't get a penny. It was assumed that the matter would end there, but a few months later, Du Angxiang unexpectedly discovered that the Ding family was still living in the house they had sold. Upon investigation, Du Angxiang found that the Ding family had sold the house to their close business partner, Paul, at 20% below market value. Du Angxiang reasonably believed that the Ding family, to avoid paying compensation, had colluded with Paul to sell the house at a low price and took them to court again. This lawsuit, like a tug-of-war, lasted for more than a year. In May 2010, the court ruled that the property transaction between the Ding family and Paul was invalid. The Ding family and Paul appealed on the spot. A few months later, the court ruled on the appeal, reversing the decision and stating that the Ding family's sale of the house was not illegal. The reason was that although Paul bought the house at a low price, the condition was to lease it back to the Ding family for 21 years. Therefore, the Ding family was renting the house, and there was no market disruption. Just before the court's ruling, the Ding family's other property was also sold. The Ding family claimed that the proceeds were used to repay the loan on the property and other expenses, leaving almost no surplus funds. Therefore, the Ding family had no assets that could be legally executed. Unwilling to give up, Du Angxiang took the case to the High Court. On April 28, 2011, the High Court's judgment came out, upholding the original ruling and requiring Du Angxiang to pay $88,000 in legal fees to the Ding family and Paul. As a result, Du Angxiang not only spent more than $100,000 on the lawsuit, but also had to pay legal fees to his perceived enemies. In fact, Du Angxiang had long resigned from his company, handing over the business to his 2 children. 20 days before the incident, he transferred his and his wife's company. To prevent Du Angxiang from transferring assets and declaring bankruptcy, Paul had applied to the court to freeze all of their assets. Du Angxiang grew increasingly furious. In an interview, his wife said that the Ding family never paid the promised profits and always took more than half of the profits, which is why they sued. However, the Ding family used various means to evade the court's ruling. Her husband, Du Angxiang, was determined to get back his share, which weighed heavily on his mind and caused his behavior to become increasingly erratic. The long-lasting lawsuit ended with Du Angxiang's defeat. The day after the court's judgment, the Ding family was tragically murdered. British police contacted the Ministry of Public Security and Interpol, launching a global manhunt for Du Angxiang. They investigated hundreds of citizen tips and nearly 1,000 hours of surveillance footage to trace his escape route. On the evening of April 29, 2011, after committing the murders, Du Angxiang stayed at the Ding residence for a few hours, before driving away in the Ding family's rented silver car. He bought a map of Northampton at a store on the M1 motorway, and then went to Paul's residence. Fortunately, Paul was on a business trip that day. Du Angxiang continued towards London, but for some unknown reason, the car's license plate was not detected by automatic number plate recognition cameras, causing the police to take 10 days to find the car on a London street. By then, Du Angxiang had already crossed into France and reached the port city of Algeciras in southern Spain, where he bought a ferry ticket to Tangier, Morocco. In June 2012, British police speculated that Du Angxiang was likely hiding in Morocco and issued a warrant through Moroccan news media. On July 7, 2012, a construction site manager in Morocco saw the warrant in a local newspaper and recognized Du Angxiang as one of his workers, prompting him to call the police. Du Angxiang was arrested. He had previously been detained by Moroccan police for illegal immigration, but was released because he falsely claimed to be Li Ming, from Taiwan, and his identity couldn't be verified. Although there was no extradition treaty between the UK and Morocco, the British Home Office and the Moroccan Ministry of Justice managed to extradite Du Angxiang to the UK on February 20, 2013, to stand trial. His defense lawyer argued that Du Angxiang did not deny killing the Ding family, but claimed he suffered from severe depression due to the nearly 10-year dispute, leading him to lose control. The police believed that although Du Angxiang might have been depressed, the murders were premeditated and a cold-blooded act of revenge. On October 28, 2013, after a turbulent trial, the court found Du Angxiang guilty of 4 counts of murder and sentenced him to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 40 years. Du Angxiang confessed that he had repeatedly gone to the Ding family to demand his share, but was always turned away. On April 28, 2011, the court prohibited him from handling his assets and required him to pay the Ding family and Paul's high legal fees. Growing increasingly angry the next day, he went to his Birmingham shop, wrote a note to his family, and took a kitchen knife he had bought months earlier for a potential suicide. He went to the Ding family's neighborhood, entered their backyard through the garage, and found Ding Zhifeng in the kitchen. Initially, he did not intend to harm him but asked for money. Ding Zhifeng spoke harshly and threatened to call the police, prompting Du Angxiang to impulsively stab him. Kui Gei came downstairs and a struggle ensued, resulting in the deaths of the Ding couple. Hearing screams from upstairs, he decided to kill the two girls as well. He stayed at the Ding house, slept, and then left with a wallet and car keys. On July 12, 2011, 2 months after the Ding family tragedy, a funeral was held for the victims. On April 29, 2012, a year after the incident, Paul, the business partner, suddenly died of illness at the age of 65. The Ding family's house was renovated and put up for sale, but due to the case's notoriety, it remained unsold. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed my video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. See you next time.